Handsome work makes handsome, not only handsome face. Yes, students, good morning, students. Today's topic is on the face of it from Vistas for Standard 12. Today's topic on the face of it. In this topic, there are three main characters. Mr. Lamb, a middle-aged man, Derek, a 14-year-old boy, and Derek's mother. There are three main characters. This story's setting is Mr. Lamb's garden and then later Derek's house. Background of this story: Mr. Lamb, a middle-aged man, and Derek, a young boy of 14, start a conversation at the farmer's garden where the latter enters by jumping the wall. They both are physically impaired. It is the sad, or it is the very unhappiest moment. A theme of this story is actually this chapter focuses on the pain and isolation physically impaired people go through. The chapter also gives the message that one can always rise above one's impairment. The story starts from Derek's entry. In Derek enters Mr. Lamb's garden over the wall. Derek had become defiant and pessimistic due to the narrator, due to the manner in which people react to his disfigured face. Mr. Lamb reassures him that there are many who have suffered a lot worse than him, and he can still do whatever he wants as he still has youth and health on his side. Derek tells him that his parents worry about his future and people talk behind his back. Mr. Lamb tells him, Mr. Lamb tells Derek a story of a man who was always afraid of being run over, of getting infected or meeting with some accident. Ultimately, he locked himself in a room. A picture fell on his head and he died. Mr. Lamb assures Derek that people will eventually get tired of talking and staring. He should not concentrate on what they say and focus on his own aspiration and abilities. He calls Derek his friend and tells him that he is always welcome to his garden. Climax comes in the end of this story. Climax comes like this way. Derek says that he hates some people. Mr. Lamb says that hatred, some hatred would do him more harm than any acid. Very important line is that hatred would do him more harmful than any acid. Acid only burns the face, but hatred burns us from inside. in the end of this story comes a resolution that, or a conclusion of this story, that Derek tells Mr. Lamb that he would come back to his garden, which the latter does not believe. He goes home, and much against his mother's wishes, he comes back only to find Mr. Lamb dead. There is only one friend, but he died, unfortunately. But his conversation with Mr. Lamb makes him lose his haughtiness of pessimism. It is the ending point of this story. Now, students, now I am giving you some homework related to these topics. First question is that explain the character of Mr. Lamb. Define the character between Mr. Lamb and Derek. Third question is important, that it ate my face. It ate my face up. It ate me up. In the close of inverted comma give you. Why said? First of all, you explain who said to whom, then why. Why is stated like this statement? Explain it. Okay, students. Good day. Goodbye. Take care. Next day, next time, we will read next topic. Take care.